Hey guys, how's everybody doing? We're going to take a look at Diablo 3 today. Let me give you a little Diablo history here. Diablo, the original game Diablo, was developed in 1997. The second game, Diablo 2, came out in 2000. They did an expansion pack for that called Lord of Destruction in 2001. And Diablo 3 was a long time in the making. They announced this game in 2008, and they finally got to release it earlier this year, May 2012. So, why did it take so long? Well, I think they really wanted to perfect the game and spend some time in it. So we're going to take Pigmentus here. I'm a level 60 wizard, and right now I'm trying to work my way through the Inferno difficulty. And we'll just talk about, the little gameplay that we have here to work with. You move around with your left mouse button, fire stuff with your right mouse button. If you hold shift, you can fire stuff with your left mouse button as well. And it really depends what your key bindings are like, and you could change your key bindings to basically whatever skill you have at that time. So the screen is very simple. You got your mini map in the upper right hand corner. Above that you got your local time, which probably feeds off your computer time, and the area of the map. Let me kill this guy before he kills me. And then we've got your simple objectives. It's not a long list of objectives. Each act has different scenarios within it, and there's 4 acts in the game. It's similar to Diablo 2 in that respect. If you remember, you would start off Diablo 2 in the desert, and then you'd work your way through the jungle, I think it was, and then through hell, and then there's a final act, which I just can't remember right now because it was 11 years ago, and I haven't played the game probably in 11 years. So I am playing a wizard, and I've got a little buddy here, my Templar. If I click him, then it brings up his stats, and we can equip him with a couple of pieces of gear, not much. And I'll tell you what, I'm a little under-geared for Inferno difficulty. And let's talk about this guy first before I get into the difficulty modes. You could choose his different skills, which he'll gain at these respective levels, 5, 10, 15, 20, and then you could check out his stats, and you could finally go into his details and look at everything else. His life, he's got 27,000 hit points, which is not a lot in Inferno, and everything else. And then we'll go down here. There's actually chat. There's actually general chat. I don't see too much of it here in Inferno, and I'm not sure if it is difficulty specific, and I want to say it is. It may be regionally specific. I honestly I don't know, but yeah, we could click his name and then we could tell him something like he's a jerk or something like that. Well, I'm not going to do that because I don't know him and he just may be a really nice guy. Bottom left is my health orb, and the bottom right is my arcane power orb, or my mana or whatever you want to call it. Health is based off of vitality, and mana is based off of arcane power. In fact, they don't even call it mana; they call it arcane power. So it's one and the same. And then down below, I've got my skills down here in the quick bar, which can be changed around, and then a slot for whatever. You don't have to have pots there, but I do because it just makes sense. Town portal right there, and we'll go over to skills. Skills can be changed through your options menu. When you first start off, you may not know this. You could basically go through and adjust whatever you want. It'll actually lock you in a certain set of primary skills. Actually, let me go back here. Hold on. Here we go. Secondary skills, defensive. I'm using 2 conjuration skills for defensive. There's a primary, but I'm actually not using a primary skill because secondary skills are generally more powerful. And I've got this set up with my level 60 wizard here to really how I like it. And I'm just going to talk about that very briefly because it's not going to be a template video. It's going to be more of a review video. But my level 60 wizard, I basically blew through Act 3, which is hell, within 4 hours because of this spec. And basically it's Arcane Orb with Tap the Source, and Tap the Source reduces the cost of Arcane Orb. I'm using Diamond Skin with Crystal Shell, and Crystal Shell increases the maximum amount of damage I could take, which is very effective here in Inferno. I'm using Teleport with Fracture because Fracture is just awesome, and it really blows apart the mobs. The mobs just go to your decoys and allows you to stun and just wreck. I'm using a Venom Hydra, and I'll get back to that in a second. Energy Armor with Energy Tap. So it increases my arcane power instead of decreasing it, which really sucks, especially with this build. You don't want to run out of arcane power at any point. And then, of course, like this is basically the wizard uh, a standalone, I guess. The magic weapon with force weapon. Just about every wizard is going to use this because it gives you a 15% increase on your damage dealt. So, and it's huge. It's huge. And it says it gives a chance to knock back enemies. I've never seen it. Passive skills, pretty important stuff here. I'm using a temporal flux, and it's basically it snares whenever you do arcane damage, which goes hand in hand with my arcane orb. So when I shoot arcane orb, I snare him with temporal flux, giving a chance for my Hydra to deal more damage to him. So that's my wizard spec. Astral presence increases, regeneration. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that on, and galvanize and ward, which increases duration of armor. So that's that. That's my spec that I'm using so far, and I just started Inferno, and we'll see how it is. Now the inventory system is very much like other Diablos. It is inventory management concept and design, just like any other, just like any of these hack and slash games, Torchlight, Diablo, whatever. It's the same thing. I mean, the game was built on this, like, oh, how can we screw over the players so much that they spend hours on end adjusting their inventory. Well, that's how. Then you got real detailed stats, and you really don't have to look at this probably until halfway through Hell, maybe beginning of Hell. Hell is kind of a difficulty. Oh boy, the puns. Your gold amount, I don't have very much now at 450,000. Again, I just started my grind, and the items. Now this is where it gets fucking nuttier than squirrel poop, and I'm telling you this right now. And this is where it kind of it's shitty. And I'm not saying the game is shitty, because I love the game. I really do. I think it was a great game the first playthrough. I'm enjoying the rest, finding out the different scenarios and stories, and seeing different things actually in after playthroughs in these harder difficulties. You get to see different things. Now you can run through Act 1, which is normal mode, and I did it in about 10 or 11 hours, and you could keep on playing that and equip yourself and go through the story and whatnot. And this game is a grind game, guys. You're just gonna sit there and you're gonna grind everything. But let me tell you what's freaking nuttier than squirrel poop right here is once I got to Hell, I had a real difficult time just getting through it. So I had raised a couple 100,000 stacks of gold, and I bought myself this, which is a rare two-handed sword. Now everything has an item level, a required level, right? Okay, it's just like any other Diablo, any other type of game of this genre. Everything has a required level, and this is where it gets fuckiest. It really is stupid. It's out of this world, dumb, insane, that lets you go into easy mode on the hardest difficulties. And it's this right here. Level requirement, it's the very last item here, the very last dot. Level requirement reduced by 7. Why have a required level on armor if you're just going to throw in items like that? There's a ton of these on. So if you're having a hard time in Nightmare difficulty or Hell difficulty, look on the auction house. These swords can be bought for as little as 10,000. In fact, I bought this sword for 10,000 gold. And 10,000 gold, really, you could easily do that through the first level. And I'll give you a hint right now. If you're going through the first level and you break down, you smelt everything into crafting materials, they're more valuable going through the first act, the first difficulty, not the first act, the first difficulty, than the rest of the difficulties, because people want to pick up that stuff and craft the tune the best gear for that difficulty. So little tip for you, throw it on auction house for gold, ask a little bit more than the going rate, and it's usually 400 or 500 an item, and you'll get thousands and thousands of gold right off the bat. So it's insane that they would actually reduce the lower level requirement. Now I am level 60. I have made it to Inferno, and there's a thing called Paragon levels, which I've not yet progressed because I've not yet leveled again. So right down here, if you hover right across the experience bar, level 60 experience, and it shows it right off. I'm 1.1 mil out of 7.2 mil. And then each level will give you a specific amount of Paragon Magic Find and Paragon Gold Find. It will increase that. Now, the Magic Find in this game is kind of quirky too. It gives you a percent, like, okay, 20%. Let's look at my helm, because most helms are Magic Finds. So I got a 15% better chance of finding magical items. Level requirement reduced by 7. Yeah, I bought this at the auction house too. And that's why I went through hell in 4 hours. Oh, I just blew through it. So 15% better chance of finding magical items. Now you would assume that, okay, I'm getting a 15% chance of finding better magical items. No, you're wrong. You're getting 15% of 2%, or whatever number it is, of your chance of finding magical items. There's a number between the item drop and your magic items that's been taken from. So if you find an item with basically 3 dots in it, strength, intelligence, vitality, it's then calculated for more dots at a 2% range. And then you get an increase depending on what your magic find is. And if you see people put MF, that's magic find. So it's quirky in that respect too. It's absolutely strange how they went about doing this. Now, I don't know why. I would assume that Hell difficulty, Inferno difficulty would be balls to the walls tough. But when you can find stuff on the auction house that makes the game easy mode, why? Why do that? Why not just keep the required level at the specific level instead of having a level requirement reduced by 7? It absolutely screws their system of required levels. Wow. So I'm not going to talk about the auction house in this vid. We'll get to that in a whole nother vid, because it is a hot mess. It is a complete disaster. It's the stupidest auction house that I've ever seen. And it's so bad that you can't even see the bidders. You can't even see if something's even being bid on. And I think that's important information, especially in auction houses. Now, they do have a real cash auction house, RCAU they're calling it. And we're going to talk about that. I have grinded myself to level 60 to Hell difficulty to try to really get a chance at getting some sort of loot that I could try out the real cash auction house. Now, if you're going to buy this game for $60 and you want to test this out, you have to spend a considerable amount of time. I've been playing now for 45 hours of this game just to get to the Infernal difficulty. Basically, my hardest level so far to date has been Nightmare difficulty, and I basically, just not a good enough item drops. So if you're going to buy this game just to try that out, try to make some cash in the real cash auction house, prepare to put in quite a few hours. Now, it's not as bad as in Trophy, where you have to put in actually quite a lot of time, or buy yourself in with a massive amount of money. But it's going to take some time, and even then, there's some quirks in the auction house that absolutely ruin it. And we'll go into that in another video. So let's stop freaking chatting. Achievements, a shit ton of achievements, as you can see here. I'm not going to go into them. You guys know what achievements are. I'm sure you played a Blizzard game before. I'm sure you played a Steam game with achievements. They're all the same. And then, you got your options. You could leave game, and you have to leave game to go to the auction house. So, which we're not going to do, because I want to show you just a little bit. We're going to buff up here, blow some shit up. This is the game right here. This is it. So as I was saying, the game is $60, unless you happen to buy an annual pass to WoW, which then I think you could buy it at a discounted price, or I think maybe in earlier versions of that sale. I think you almost got it for free. I'm not sure about that, but I think some people got it for free. Oh damn! See, Infernal difficult. Like you don't want to get hit. You don't want to get hit. There's a loot drop right there, but I ran out of mana or arcane power, but no biggie. I'll just kite him a little bit. Forgot to use my venom. Like I said, I am still somewhat undergeared, and my Templar is definitely undergeared. In fact, he completely freaking died. This is really the first time I'm actually having any sort of problems here in Infernal. But That's the gameplay. Look at the size of this fucking sword. I gotta say, graphically, it is nostalgia. I do like this type of style. I do like this game. In fact, you know, I'm being pretty hard on it because primarily it's a AAA title. It came from Blizzard, the hugest company out there probably right now. Oh, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It's maybe the second. I think the people that do Perfect World Entertainment is probably the biggest game company out there right now because they have an Asian game that is super popular, even more popular than WoW, and I think that's in China. I wish I remember the name of it, but quite honestly, I can't. But in regards to this AAA title, you know, I have to be a little critical. Now, I did enjoy the first playthrough. I'm enjoying actually every playthrough. It's very fun, even though I'm not a big grindy game fan, as I've mentioned in some other games. But maybe I am. Maybe I'm just neglecting the fact that, you know, or maybe I just can't bring myself to the fact that I do love grindy games like this. You know, I mean, Christ, I do play Entropia. That's probably the grindiest game out there. The whole game is a grind. I meant to blow it up and not shoot my Venom Hydra, but so this is basically how it works. You know, I'm snaring them, boom, Venom Hydra hits them for extra DPS, and everybody's happy pretty much. You know, if I get into trouble, I'll pop either teleport or my crystalline armor, and yeah, good fun. And we're just grabbing gold. Look at that stack of cash right there. Damn, that's a big old stack of gold. I love it. 655 gold. I'll take that. Thank you very much. So let's take a look at some of the items we just collected. Nothing too good. Magic Amulet, Dex, and Vitality. I may throw that on my Templar, and then Magic Ceremonial Knife, which is, you know, it's nothing at all. It's gonna be disenchanted. You can find blacksmith drops. You can find jewel crafting. There's sockets for jewel crafting, just like any other Diablo game or Torchlight. We're just gonna town portal here. Go to old Tristram. The storyline is very good, and I keep on saying, you know, is it worth $60? And let me tell you this: if you're just a casual gamer and you're probably not gonna play it more than the first playthrough, it's not worth $60. Don't waste your time. Wait for it to come on sale, but you may be waiting a while because it is a AAA game. Okay. And these games usually take a long time. Like, we'll probably almost never see Guild Wars 2 on sale. It's going to be months, probably even a year or two before we see that game ever go on sale. Okay, if you're going to play it through the first playthrough, 10-12 hours, probably not worth $60. If you're going to try to grind it to Inferno, you're going to try to make a little money, play around the real cash auction house, I say go for it. If you play it the first time, you really enjoy it, then it's probably worth your $60. I love the story. I actually sat and I went through every conversation with every NPC in game. I watched every cutscene in its entirety. Actually, both on regular and then Nightmare. And then hell, I kind of skipped it all over because you've seen it once, you know. It's still cool to see the second and third time. I'll say that much. So $60 game, not if you're just gonna put 10-12 hours into it. I just don't see it happening. $60 game for 40-50 hours, absolutely, you know. Anyway, guys, that's my review on it. Tell me what you think. I think I'm going to do another video of the auction house because I've got to pull it apart. I've got to really pick it apart for you guys. And you know I love the real cash economy games, and oh, it's going to be abused. And I'll see you in the next vid. Thanks for watching.